Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 43 of Concerts at Home. And with so much fun at the interview last time, I invited as many people as I could get this time. So here we have Timmy Eckert, Jose Franch-Ballester, Aznavoorian, Kristin Lee, Nick Daniel, Paul Huang, and who is this guy in the middle with the headphones on? That would be David Bruce of Steampunk fame. Welcome, everybody. Isn't it good to see everybody again?
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
So I'm looking for fascinating dynamics between you, and the reason I brought David is we'll start this. So today we're going to do two pieces of music. We'll do steampunk, of course, because that's where we all had some crazy fun. Anna, you have to tell the IHOP story at some point. Yes, I did press record, Nick. So last time I was 5 minutes in last time before I realized, oh my God. And then we'll start with that fabulous piece that Paul and Warren played, the Romanza Andaluza by Sarasate. But so we'll talk about, David, where did steampunk come from? When it was, who wrote it? Was it a commission? Did somebody give you the idea? How did that all happen?
Can you all just get ready after on one and go? Oh, that's not how this is working. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So this was a commission from Carnegie Hall a few years ago, probably quite a few years ago now. And I was just struck by the instrumentation was what made me think of the whole idea of steampunk. Usually I get into a piece and get quite a long way in before it starts sort of forming as an idea and I start working out what it's about. This was quite a rare example where I knew what it had to be. It was going to be, you know, written for these instruments with lots of valves and pipes and tubes, and I just wanted to try and capture some of that steampunk atmosphere.
So I'm presuming that when I introduced the piece to most of you, and I know it was Kristin's first time with a camerata. Was it the first time that some of you met Paul? So describe what your experience was with David Steampunk.
Well, Adrian, you certainly enhanced that experience to another level. Well,
wasn't this the piece that you got at double speed for a while of an already fast section?
Yeah. That. It was my
the thing about that was that we were just like watching you like this, going, oh, she's really, really amazing. And then we played it to David, and you said, oh, it's twice too fast. We went, oh.
I mean, this was a section that I'd really worried about because I knew it was going to be difficult for the violin, and I'd even like sent it out to friends and got them to make sure it was actually playable at the speed I'd written it. And then Kristin goes away and learns it at double that. Quite impressive.
Oh, geez. I remember this was my first official concert. I think I had done one other concert with not all of the cast, just with some of the string players, and I was nervous. You know, I wanted to do a good job, and then you told us to get into these costumes, and I was just like, okay, I mean, this is what we're gonna do. This is the way it runs around here. Okay, fine, I'll do it. But musically, it was obviously an incredible experience. We don't, like you had said, David, I mean, you know, we don't often get to play chamber ensemble works with this kind of instrumentation. So it was a very unique experience. And from my previous experience working with a lot of wind players and brass players with string players, it was a lot of times very frustrating because we have a very different approach to how we play chamber music. But in this case, I remember just being like so blown away with the camaraderie and just how everybody really worked so well together. I remember maybe my nerves were so much in the way of remembering how the performances went, but I just my biggest remark I remember was just like, wow, this group is different, because winds. You know, you don't have to struggle with the winds with the versus the strings in this case. I just remember that. Yeah.
Do you not find yourself? Do you not find it's a phenomenon, Kristin, that you find yourself more popular and people get on more easily with you when you're carrying a gun on your hip?
No comment there.
It's legal in California. You don't need to worry about it.
Well, let's just say that was certainly my first and probably my last.
I just remember going from rehearsal to concert was a huge step. Do you remember that, guys? Because also I remember looking at Martin Owen after the first movement and seeing that his goggles were literally half full of what I presume was sweat. And he had to do this to kind of make them empty it out. And then Jose with little moustache and everything. It's just like my eyelashes doing this. I don't know how do people really wear false eyelashes all the time and do anything? I mean, it's like they got those Volkswagen Beetles, you know, with the eyelash. I felt like that, you know.
Yeah,
It's a workout of a piece in plain clothes, isn't it? Let alone in full costume.
I remember that for part of the costume was for the women was corsets, and I looked in the mirror. I was like, oh, this corset makes me look good. I said, pull it a little tighter. So she pulls it a little tighter. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. But the thing I didn't think about was that everyone else was standing. Cella sits down, so when you sit down, it becomes twice as cinched. I could not breathe one of those concerts. I thought I was going to faint.
I had no idea. Wow.
By the way, I'm going to be dropping those photographs. Do you remember the photo session? That was really fun too. And I'm just going to be sharing the photographs throughout our little interview here.
The thing is, the team that you got to dress us and work with us was so utterly brilliant and so professional. I mean, I felt in safe hands. It didn't feel like a big thing to go on. I look at the photograph and I go, I was wearing that. Oh my God. But actually at the time, they made it feel so natural for us and comfortable with measuring us all with our different, you know, some small, some large, some in between. And it just felt, and then the makeup they were just such lovely people backstage doing it, weren't they? And we're not used to being pampered in that way. It felt nice. Well, Timmy is, of course. But
yes, of course.
Jose, what were you were going to say something, Jose? What do you have?
Yeah, I want to say that the music of steampunk is so creative. It takes you to those magical colors and states, right? And then we had this element of wearing those costumes, and just not wearing costume, wearing the costumes, because they were incredible, right? And the way it was done, and just by doing that, it enhanced everything else. Like it made you own the character that you were performing in each way. At the moment that you were dressed, you were in character. You were someone else. And as a musician, I felt that that had a lot of impact on our personalities and how we came across playing this piece. It helped us a lot by playing the piece. In a way, it was very tiring because we had to be there an hour and a half earlier. We were wearing programs of costumes and gadgets around, and it was kind of heavy. It's not the normal concert clothes that we are used. Maybe opera singers are used to this, but at least someone like me, it was new. But it was an experience in every sense.
So Paul,
it makes me realize that what actors say about context is really true. Like, I mean, that you can rehearse it dry, and then we perform it on a stage, even if we get extra lighting and things and concert clothes. But actually, it became contextual. But the thing is, before anybody else speaks, but just say that I think what happened with us was that the piece actually, as we went into the piece got deeper and becomes, I think, very serious actually. And it's not a light piece in any sense. There's all this crazy sort of constructivism going on in it, but at the same time there's a place where you do look into the face of something very dark with it, and then he just takes you out of it again. I think it's the most wonderful piece.
I have to see if I can find the Edwardian photographs. If you remember, we paired the piece with the Stanford Nonette, And steampunk is meant to be techno Victorian, but we did techno Edwardian. If you remember, with different costumes. So Paul, you managed to escape all the steampunk tendencies, but we had you dress up in more Edwardian garb. But you didn't seem so. You seemed to be the least. I guess you were glad that you avoided steampunk. That's all I'm saying.
Although I will say that, I think that concert was the most memorable was actually your speech, and how the way we came out, and the two Oriental people, Kristin and I, only we can say that. How it was brought out, and I thought that was actually quite memorable. And by the way, Happy New Year to everyone. It's Chinese New Year today.
Oh.
So I thought that was very memorable, and I think Kristin and I did a pretty good job staging that. And
I remember
being very obedient.
When the Irish guys talking to you about, can we get away? Is this politically correct? Can we do this? You're like, we're doing it. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what year is it? What's the animal year for the Chinese New Year?
Cow.
The cow? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to use then the Chinese New Year celebration for our first piece of music by you, Paul. You and Warren, and this is a recording from September 18th, 2015. Do you want to introduce it?
Sure. It's a pretty self-explanatory piece. It's Romanza Andaluza by Sarasate, one of the great Spanish violinist and composer. And I've always felt especially connected to Sarasate's music because I think the fact that he actually really understands the singing quality of the violin, not just the virtuosity of the violin. So, and this piece actually is not, unlike many other Sarasate pieces, it's not as flashy as, say, Zukunowaizen or other pieces. And it really highlights the singing quality of the violin. And to playing this with Warren, I think, is especially blissful because Warren is such a wonderful collaborator, and this piece is very much operatic, and and I especially loved how Warren started at the beginning. I mean, it's so simple. It's basically accompaniment of two bars before it come in, and usually pianists would just play the way as it's written, but Warren was like, oh, let me start something kind of louder, and then kind of decrescendo it to into my entrance, which is very much what opera singers or opera accompanists and collaborators would do, and it really enhances the whole idea. Also, like very much like steampunk, is very much like a staging. He really sets the stage very well for a violinist. So it's I remember being very memorable.
Warren's amazing in that he can take the simplest accompaniment and inform it and make it so characterful and musical. So, well, let's hear it. Here we go. Paul and Warren, Sarasate. Welcome back. So, Paul, that was fabulous. Timmy, you've been noticeably quiet here, which is completely out of character for you. And I want to know how, since I issued the invitation to this Zoom 3 days ago, how you managed to grow the steampunk beard so quickly.
The genesis of this beard was the steampunk project. So I started it then. And I didn't really know that I had a full beard in me, but evidently I do, because it's been around since steampunk. So thank you, David Bruce.
Oh, wow, I've changed your life.
Yeah, when I thought about this, I grew out the whiskers too. I hated it by the end of it, because you have to groom the damn thing afterwards. I hated it. But Annie, remember?
Adrian, if you need some beard products.
We arrived to the last performance, and it had been such a fun run of concerts. So we went out afterwards, and there was alcohol consumed, and then we went back to the hotel, and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and Annie and I decided we're not done. We need to party some more. And we were in Pasadena. And we couldn't find anywhere to pick up the story, Anne.
Well, and I was starving. It was 2 a.m. and we'd been drinking and starving. What's open at 2 a.m.? IHOP. So Adrian and I go to IHOP at 2 a.m. I still had my full makeup on, eyelashes. But the funniest part was Adrian with his big, huge mutton chops. We go into IHOP, and surprisingly, it's pretty crowded at 2 a.m. And everyone's just looking at us, and we're creating this spectacle because we're laughing. We're laughing our heads off, in full regalia, steampunk regalia. So it was quite memorable.
So, David,
I remember when Piotr first discovered IHOP, as he calls it. He came back with 3 cartons of pancakes. I said, "What's going on?" He says, "I discovered a place, it's called IHOP, and it's amazing."
David, I have a question for you. As you can see, for us playing the piece, it was an incredible experience, and it was also incredible to be able to be in character on the piece, right? Is it something normal that other groups that they perform this piece do?
It's happened quite a few times, actually, yeah. But I mean, I have to say, I'm slightly concerned that you guys just set the standard on all fronts a bit too high. You know, no one's ever really going to compete with that on any level.
Our costumes were rented from Universal Studios. I mean, we go big or, go home. It's like...
Totally.
Martin wanted to pass the message here that he was thrilled because the boots that he wore had been used by Harrison Ford in one of Harrison Ford's movies. And so he had this whole spiel about Harrison Ford's shoes being too big to fill, but he was very impressed with that. And Timmy, you've still got, apparently you shared, you still got the trousers?
Oh yeah, I had these very rock and roll, like striped tight pants that I fit into at that time, and Evie, our costumer, gifted them to me, and I have them in my closet, but they're a little bit aspirational now after almost a year of quarantining. So we'll have to get out and do some jogging so I can fit into those again once this is over.
Actually, I have a question for David, actually.
Uh-oh.
I've had the wonderful pleasure to play, several of your works. And I think I actually first met you in New York with the Metropolis Ensemble. And then obviously with the involvement with Camerata, I've gotten to play a lot more of your works, including Gumboots too. And what I always find so fascinating with your writing is that you have like this complete control and I guess talent in being able to visually like make the you visualize the music, like you make the experience of the listener be able to actually see the music. And I think that's so amazing, but at the same time, it's with such like sophisticated and intellectual like writing as well. So I'm just really curious, like what comes first when you write? Is it more of like the context or just like the broader ideas, or is it more of the details in your writing? I'm just really curious because I think it's just I don't know anyone who writes that way. It's just really fascinating.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I mean, usually it's like months of pain before I get anything, and the usual feeling of not being a composer. And I think the kind of the bits I always enjoy most composing are towards sort of halfway through, when I've kind of it's got going, and then I playing with the colors and bringing out these kind of audio pictures, as you sort of describe it, that always inspires me to think, oh, that I could conjure a little bit of a sound here or something like that.
And isn't it true to say that if your wife thinks it's okay, then you feel a bit happier about it?
Well, she's just a brutally honest Polish, speaks it directly, no messing around. So I know if she's okay with it, then it must be okay, but she won't hesitate to tell me if it's not. So it's quite useful to have somebody like that around, as you know yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I find your music when one listens to it, it seems relatively straightforward, especially metrically. But when you study it and try to play it, it's so flippin' difficult. It's hard to play. So is that pain that you feel at the start, do you feel you have to share that with the musicians who are going to work on your afterwards?
Believe it or not, I do try to make it as easy as I possibly can. And I'm always thinking, oh, this will be fine. And then the players sort of say, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know. I think it feels, well, certainly for the music you've written, for me, it feels as if you play the instrument. I mean, I know you've got a lot of instruments in there in your little studio, haven't you? I wanted to ask you, do you play?
The oboe I had, actually. But
so you have got an oboe?
I did have one, but I actually could hardly make a note out of it. It was, I think I ruined the reeds that I did have on it. And it wasn't actually that useful in the end.
Well,
an oboe that's not useful? I don't understand the concept.
Oh.
All right, are we well, so now that you're seeing each other, so we're gonna have to play the music pretty soon, but is there anything that you want to share with each other across the divide, across this digital divide, before we get maybe by the end of the year we'll start to see each other again?
I just can't wait to play with you all. I mean, I see your faces here and it hurts. And it's beyond a joke now. It's beyond novelty, isn't it? It's all beyond everything. And we're just waiting it out the whole time. I mean, we seem to be a little bit ahead of the curve in vaccination in the UK, but let's just hope. Fingers crossed.
Paul, you're back to Taiwan in a couple of weeks, right? Or very soon?
Yeah, in a week or so.
Yeah, because you're artist in residence with the National Symphony Orchestra there.
Yep.
Yeah. So you and Kristin, because Kristin was so you guys are playing full concerts to full houses much to the envy of your colleagues.
Yeah, we
No, we're
we
proud
had a
of
good
you.
time in December. Happened to be at the same time, so we got to hang out. Yeah.
Now I'm
a
really
lot of
jealous.
fun.
That I don't mind you going giving concerts, but hanging out, no.
I
Oh,
know, yeah.
It's
But
the
you know,
hanging out,
Paul,
and
it's
then
like,
and
I
then
don't
Paul's
my students went to your concert.
yeah.
He was
Paul's
very
photo journal of food. That's you know where Paul is in any one time because of the food photographs that he posts.
Yeah, when there are food photos, that usually is somewhere in Asia, something like that.
not only.
But
Oh,
Paul, I'm jealous you're back there because the aftermath is so much worse when you get to experience it and you're back, and it's sort of the same here. So have all the fun you can, and very jealous that you're there.
Anything I can bring back? I mean, we're not that far.
Well, I'll think about it. I'll text you.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, let's hope that we start playing concerts in the not too distant future. But here we have from such a memory, January 15th, 2016, by David Bruce, Steampunk. See you all sometime. Thanks for being here.